All right, so today we're diving into one of the most important economic regions on the entire planet, China's Yangtze River Delta. Now, this isn't just another manufacturing hub, not at all. Think of it more as the nerve center for China's massive ambition to climb the global value chain and completely redefine its role in the world economy.
You know, this quote just nails it. It really gets to the heart of what makes this region so unique. For decades, the story we've heard about China is that it's the world's workshop, focused on cranking things out fast and cheap. But the Yangtze River Delta, or the YRD as we'll call it operates on a totally different principle. It's a laboratory, a place for experimentation, for precision, and for creating these incredibly complex, high-value products.
And this slide right here, it breaks down that difference perfectly. On one hand, you have the old workshop model. Think the Pearl River Delta. That whole game was about speed, scale, and finding the cheapest labor possible. But the YRD's laboratory model is fundamentally different. It's built on a foundation of highly skilled people and just massive amounts of financial capital. And it's all guided by a very deliberate, top-down state plan. It's a huge strategic pivot from asking how cheap can you make something to how complex can you make it.
So how does this laboratory actually function day to day? Well, the key is to stop thinking of the URD as just a bunch of famous cities like Shanghai. You've got to see it as one massive, deeply integrated industrial ecosystem. Its real power comes from how all these different parts work together as one. This table illustrates that division of labor brilliantly. You've got Shanghai, which basically acts as the brain and the bank. It provides the capital and the global connections. Then you have Jiangsu, which is the industrial heartland, with this incredible manufacturing density and deep engineering talent. And finally, Zhejiang comes in and brings that crucial spark of private sector energy and entrepreneurial spirit. See, each part plays its own distinct but totally complementary role.
And what stitches this all together? World-class infrastructure. I mean, we're talking high-speed rail that lets an engineer zip between cities in less than an hour. Super advanced highways, and these sophisticated digital platforms that coordinate the whole shebang. This amazing connectivity just minimizes all the friction, letting a company design a chip in Shanghai, source parts in Wuxi, and ship it out of Ningbo like it was all happening in one single, gigantic factory.
Okay, so we've seen the structure, but what are the secret ingredients? The things that actually make this whole model work. It really comes down to three fundamental pillars that set the YRD apart.
First up is what we can call the state-architected model. And look, this is not a hands-off approach. Local governments are actively designing these industrial ecosystems. They're using custom-built industrial parks, they're guiding investment funds, and they're creating policies to attract the exact kind of high-tech companies they want, whether that's in biomedicine or semiconductors. It's very intentional.
The second ingredient is, of course, human capital. The YRD is home to some of China's absolute best universities, and they just churn out a steady supply of top-tier engineers and scientists. So yeah, wages here are higher than in other parts of China, but the productivity is even higher. Companies get a workforce that can actually operate the complex, automated machinery that you need for advanced manufacturing.
And the final piece of the puzzle is financial gravity. Shanghai is, without a doubt, China's financial center. And what that means is that companies in the YRD have access to just staggering amounts of capital, the kind of long-term, patient money you absolutely need for incredibly expensive projects, like building a semiconductor fab or developing a whole new EV platform. This access to capital is a massive strategic advantage.
Okay, so you've got the structure and you've got the ingredients. So what is this giant laboratory actually creating? Well, the answer is a whole portfolio of industries that are pretty much going to define the 21st century.
This chart gives you a really great snapshot. You can see this heavy concentration in strategically vital sectors. We're talking semiconductors, electric vehicles, industrial automation, advanced materials, and medical tech. And these aren't just random industries. They represent the absolute core of China's master plan to upgrade its entire economy.
So let's take semiconductors for a second. The goal here isn't just to make chips, it's to build the entire ecosystem, from the initial design all the way to the final packaging and testing. This is a massive, incredibly expensive effort to reduce China's reliance on foreign tech, which has become a huge geopolitical priority.
Industrial automation is another fascinating example because it's really driven by necessity. As the region's own labor costs go up, its factories need more automation to stay competitive. Well, guess what? That creates a huge local market, which then fuels a new generation of local companies that build and supply that exact automation technology. It's this powerful, self-reinforcing cycle.
And then, of course, there are electric vehicles.
The YRD has become a global hub for EVs for one simple reason. It can tap into that incredibly dense local supplier network we were just talking about. All the critical parts, the batteries, the motors, the control systems, they're all right there in the same ecosystem.
So the really crucial point to get here is that these industries don't exist in their own little silos. Not at all. They feed off each other. The semiconductor industry supports the EV and automation sectors. Advanced materials are needed for better batteries and new medical devices. This interconnectedness makes the entire regional economy way more resilient and able to adapt quickly.
But as you can imagine, it's not all smooth sailing. The YRD's success has actually created its own set of challenges. And on top of that, it's facing some pretty significant external pressures that could threaten its future.
This slide lays out the major headwinds pretty clearly. First, costs for skilled labor and land are going up, which eats into its competitiveness. Second, geopolitical tensions have led to export controls, especially on semiconductor tech, which is a direct hit to the region's biggest ambitions. There's also a very real risk that all this state-directed investment could lead to building way too much capacity. And finally, like a lot of advanced economies, the region is facing the long-term challenge of an aging workforce.
But if there's one thing the history of the Yangtze River Delta has shown us, it's an incredible capacity for adaptation. This is not a static system. Its most durable advantage might just be its proven ability to adjust and reconfigure itself when it gets hit with exactly these kinds of shocks.
So that leaves us with the big question, doesn't it? The Yangtze River Delta is without a doubt one of the most sophisticated industrial ecosystems ever built, but is its model of state-architected innovation powerful enough to truly invent the future of manufacturing on its own terms? Or will rising internal costs and mounting external pressures ultimately contain its ambition? That right there is the critical question that's going to shape global supply chains for decades to come.